Most venomous animals at least give you something. A shape that looks wrong. A color that your brain flags without you having to think about it. Some signal that tells you to pay attention before anything happens. These don't. These are the ones you walk past, reach toward, step on, or pick up without a second thought, because nothing about the moment suggested there was anything to think about. And by the time you notice, the venom is already working, already in your system, already doing what it was designed to do before your brain finished processing what just happened. And the one at number 1 is the cruelest version of this, because it doesn't even feel like much when it happens. It feels like almost nothing. And then it waits. And what comes after the wait is the part nobody is prepared for. Number 10, the wandering spider. It doesn't build a web and stay in it. That's the whole problem. Web spiders you can see and avoid. The wandering spider moves across floors, into shoes left by the door, into clothing piled on a chair, into fruit crates in markets across South America, where it earns its other name, the banana spider. Because it gets shipped internationally inside fruit boxes and ends up in grocery stores and kitchen counters in countries where nobody is checking for it. The bite is small. People often don't notice it immediately, and then the venom starts layering in. Pain that builds from the site outward. Sweating. Irregular heart rate. In serious cases, the neurological effects start affecting motor control. The spider was in your shoe. It was in the bunch of bananas you brought home. It was in a place that had no reason to be dangerous, and no signal that it was. Number 9. The flower urchin. It looks like a garden. Tiny flower-like structures covering its surface, white and delicate, almost soft-looking. The kind of thing you'd see on a reef and want to get closer to because it looks like it belongs in a nature documentary about beautiful things. Those flowers are pedicelaria, small pincer-like structures, and each one is venomous. They don't sting like a spine. They grab, they clamp onto whatever touches them, and hold on, and keep injecting. And because they look like flowers, and not like spines, the visual warning system that usually works around urchins doesn't fire. Divers have pressed their hands against them, not realizing what they were. The pain arrives fast, and it's followed by something that moves through the body in a way that a simple sting doesn't. Paralysis in the area, breathing difficulties in serious cases, from something that looked like it was just decoration on the reef. Number 8. The slow loris. It's the only venomous primate on Earth, and it looks like it was specifically designed to make you forget that. Round face. Enormous eyes. Tiny hands. It moves slowly and watches you with an expression that looks like trust, and the entire wildlife internet has spent years producing videos of people holding them like stuffed animals because that is exactly what they look like. The venom glands sit near the elbows. It licks them to coat its teeth, and when it bites it delivers that toxin directly into the wound. But the bite isn't even the main event on this list. The toxin present on its fur can trigger anaphylactic shock from contact alone in people with a sensitivity to it. You don't get bitten, you just hold it, and your immune system decides that what just touched your skin is a catastrophic threat and responds accordingly. From the animal that the entire internet wanted to cuddle. Number 7. The striped bark scorpion. It's not the most visually intimidating scorpion. It's small, pale, and it blends into bark and rock, and the underside of things people move without checking first. Logs you pick up in the yard, rocks you shift in the garden, the tarp you grab from the corner of the garage. It's the most common cause of scorpion stings in North America, and the reason for that is entirely location. It doesn't live somewhere exotic that you'd approach with caution. It lives in suburban backyards, in the gap under the porch, in the pile of wood stacked next to the house, and it doesn't signal before it stings. You move something, it feels threatened, and the sting happens before you've registered that there was anything there. The venom hits the nervous system. In adults, it's serious. In children and elderly people, it can become a medical emergency, fast. Number 6, the stonefish. There is no animal on Earth better at looking like nothing. It sits on the ocean floor completely still, and it looks exactly like a rock, or a piece of reef, or a lump of coral that your eye moves past without stopping, because there's genuinely nothing there that reads as an animal. It doesn't swim away when you approach. It doesn't react to your presence at all. It just sits there, being indistinguishable from the bottom of the ocean, while 13 venomous spines sit along its dorsal fin, waiting for pressure. You step on it, and the spines drive upward, and the venom enters immediately. And the pain that follows is documented as some of the most intense a human being can experience from a non-lethal source. People have begged for amputation, not because the venom required it, but because it was the only solution they could think of that might make it stop. And right up until the moment you stepped on it, there was nothing there. And we're halfway through, and every single one of those was invisible in a different way, different camouflage, different context, different reason your brain had no flag for it. The ones below this point are worse, because some of them don't even need you to touch them. Subscribe to Wild Warnings, because number 1 doesn't hurt you when it happens. It lets you walk away first. And then it starts. Number 5, the blue-ringed octopus. When it's calm, the rings are faint, almost invisible. Just a small octopus sitting in a tide pool or on a shallow reef, the kind of thing you'd pick up to show someone, or just to get a closer look, because it's interesting and small, and nothing about a small octopus in a tide pool has ever been a problem before. And then you're holding it, and the rings start to brighten, and by then, the decision has already been made for you. The bite is so small and so precise that most people don't feel it clearly. A small sensation, easy to dismiss. And the tetrodotoxin enters the bloodstream and starts blocking sodium channels across the nervous system, tingling around the mouth, fingers that feel strange, a heaviness in the limbs. And then it moves faster. Motor control goes. Breathing becomes something you have to consciously manage. Your mind stays completely clear the entire time. You understand exactly what is happening, and you cannot change any of it. Number 4, the catfish. Not a punchline. People hear catfish, and they think about fishing and cookouts, and nothing that belongs on a list like this. And that comfort is exactly the problem, because catfish carry venomous spines on their dorsal and pectoral fins, and those spines are designed to lock in place when the fish feels pressure, which is exactly what happens when you grab one. The spine goes in and locks there, and the venom follows, and the pain is immediate and disproportionate to what just happened. Fishermen get stung regularly. People who have been fishing their entire lives get stung because they grabbed the fish the way they always have, and the spine found the wrong angle. The venom causes intense localized pain, tissue inflammation, and in some species a systemic reaction that goes well beyond the sting site. From a fish, the one you've been pulling out of rivers your entire life without a second thought. Number 3, the geography cone snail. Every cone snail is dangerous. The geography cone snail is the one toxicologists use when they want to make a point about how little margin there is for error. Its conotoxin cocktail is engineered by evolution to shut down the human nervous system specifically, and it does it faster than almost anything else in the ocean. The harpoon it fires can penetrate a wetsuit. It can extend through the opening of the shell and reach the fingers holding it. And holding it wrong means holding it any way that puts skin near the opening, which is most of the ways a person naturally holds a shell they picked up because it looked beautiful. There is no antivenom. Treatment is mechanical support while you wait to find out if the toxin clears your system in time. It lives in the same shallow reefs where people snorkel on holiday. It sits on the same sand where people walk barefoot. It looks like the most beautiful shell on the beach. Number 2, The tick. It finds a spot and attaches and injects a numbing agent before it starts feeding, so that you don't feel it happen. That's not a side effect of how it feeds. That's the design. Stay undetected, stay attached, keep feeding. And while it feeds certain species, release a neurotoxin directly into the bloodstream. Slowly, over hours, while you go about your day completely unaware that anything is happening. Tick paralysis doesn't arrive like a sting or a bite. It builds from the legs upward. Weakness you dismiss as tiredness. Coordination that feels slightly off in a way you can't place. Reflexes that are slower than they should be. And if the tick isn't found and removed, it keeps going. It can reach the muscles that control breathing. The whole time there is no pain signal. No alarm, just a small thing in a spot you haven't checked, running a process you don't know about, in a body that has no idea the process is happening. Number 1. The irukandji jellyfish. The size of a thumbnail. Nearly transparent in the water. No part of its appearance registers as something to be concerned about, even if you're looking directly at it, which you almost certainly aren't, because there is essentially nothing to see. The initial sting is so minor that most people genuinely aren't sure if anything happened at all. A small sensation, possibly nothing. So you keep swimming, you get out of the water, you dry off, you feel fine, and then somewhere between 15 and 40 minutes later, your body gets the information and reacts to all of it at once. Lower back pain that arrives suddenly, chest tightening, heart rate climbing on its own without any physical reason for it. Because the venom triggers a massive dump of catecholamines, stress hormones, flooding your system as your body tries to respond to a threat it cannot locate. And then it escalates. Full body pain that isn't on the surface. Internal. Spreading through you while your heart races and your muscles cramp, and your body enters a state of physical panic that has nothing to do with how you feel mentally. Because mentally, you are completely clear and present and watching all of it happen. People in the grip of irukandji syndrome have told doctors they wanted to die, not out of despair, out of a completely rational response to what their body was doing to itself. From a sting you almost didn't notice. In water that felt completely safe, that let you get all the way out and dry off and believe everything was fine before it showed you what it actually was. None of these gave you a fair warning. That was never part of the arrangement. Some of them were invisible. Some of them were beautiful. Some of them were so familiar, you stopped seeing them as a risk entirely. And one of them let you think it was over before it had even started. So now you know. Which one are you never walking past the same way again? Drop it in the comments. And if you want to know which venomous animals have no treatment once they get you, that video is next. Subscribe to Wild Warnings.